First of all, human rights are universal. That's very important to recognize. The basic human rights belongs to everybody, irrespective are they living in small or big countries. And that's obviously for the whole international community should be agreed. But then comes the other question where the focus is. And unfortunately, so that small countries are small countries, big countries are big countries, maybe small people are small people, and big people are big people, and that's everything's in those terms relative, and that's obviously is not a proper way. But actually, in terms of United Nations, in terms of European OECD and also European Union, those big international organizations, that their basic approach is very clear that all people are equal, being small or big, and all countries are equal in that way. And particularly, I would once again underline that basic human rights are universal.
Немецкому фашизму предшествовал социальный дарвинизм, Ницше и Шопенгауэр. Откуда взялся киргизский национализм, возведенный в такой оголтелый вариант, в такой оголтелой форме?
First, about social Darwinism, I'm very much against that one, very much principle level. I can see that in the nature, the principle of Darwinism functions, but human being has created consciousness and understands the process that among us as human beings we do have also weak people, we have poor people, and everyone have a right for living, not only those who are strong, who are rich, who can command the situation. So obviously at the principle level, human has created a system of protecting everybody, and we all are equal vis-a-vis law and vis-a-vis the basic rights. That's number one issue. Second issue, as a politician, I know too well that the easiest way of organizing any support is ethnicity, the same blood. We have the same blood, support me. And unfortunately, political fanatism frequently uses ethno-nationalism, and that happened in Kyrgyzstan now, and now we can see the consequences. I would like almost to say so that every politician, every person who has a political fanatism inside himself or emphasizing ethno-nationalism must look at the mirror, and the mirror tells what comes actually in the worst cases, and the worst cases were in Ocean Jalalabad, June 2010. First of all, it's very natural that we are human beings, and we are organized in a society so that obviously I am a person, I have a family, I have my people living in my village, in my town, in my country, in my nationality, and obviously in the whole world. So in that way, obviously, we do have obviously special relations to those who are the closest one to us. And in that way, obviously, we are organizing our life too. But it's very unfortunate if you don't understand that the same. If you are looking at the stranger at eye, who is coming from abroad or who is a stranger, look at the eye, and you see the same human soul in the eye, irrespective where from the people are. And that way, for my side, feeling it's very big crime against human nature if you are only saying that I am actually working for those people who are from this, having the same blood I have. But I also understand that's the easiest way, most simple way of organizing your support and even your campaigns and trying to mobilize the people. And that's a simple but also very, very dangerous way, because that creates contradictions. And in order to build up a proper society, the contradiction is to be solved, and that's not way for the politics.
Что бы вы хотели посоветовать для благоденствия Кыргызстана, для примирения кыргызским политикам, как специалист по межнациональным отношениям?
Our Commission's conclusions were very clear that the first most important step from the government of Kyrgyzstan is to absolutely condemn every type of ethno-nationalism in the country. ethnicity is not be used in terms of the political agitation and mobilization. That's the first issue. Reconciliation cannot be done in the country if it's not recognized that both Uzbeks and Kyrgyz and Uzbeks both are actually living in the same homeland, and we know that 14% of the population are Uzbeks in the country, and even south in Osh-City, for example, half of the population are Uzbeks. So obviously they have a role, and it should be recognized that Uzbeks are also living in the same homeland, Kyrgyzstan, together with the majority population Kyrgyz. Then there are obviously lots of measures which should be done in a way that integrate better way Uzbeks to the administrative systems of the country, to the court systems, to the law enforcement bodies and security forces. Uzbeks have a role in the economy in the southern Kyrgyzstan, strong role in the economy of the southern Kyrgyzstan, which is obviously an important element to recognize. But they should also have, in terms of the power-making machinery, stronger role. In that way, be more inclusive. Then obviously cultural way, it's important that it's recognized that in Kyrgyzstan there are also this Uzbek minority, and their contribution for the country is important in the cultural life and education. In terms of language, we said that the Uzbek language should have a special role, maybe a special status in the southern Kyrgyzstan, where it's an important language. We don't recommend or make a recommendation that it should be an official language in the country, but in the southern Kyrgyzstan, a special status should be recognized, and that way also be more inclusive for the minority group. These are the first steps. Then we obviously are also recommending that there should be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission established, where both ethnic groups would be participating, and that is very important in terms of cooperation, creating cooperation, reconciliation process in the country. And I know that also international community is willing to support, and hopefully obviously Kyrgyz government is also asking help from international organizations and community for establishing these type of commissions.